Colorado's governor is considering clemency, altering the 110-year sentence in the fiery I-70 crash. Survivors and family members of victims had a message for him.
This shouldn't be tried in social media and political pressure, and he needs to hit the pause button.
A new defamation lawsuit about the big lie. Colorado's Joe Oltmann is referenced yet again, but he's not the target.
I was blessed that he came in to change my trash that day. I was truly blessed.
A hospital room can be a lonely place until you meet a friend you were not expecting. And when it comes to getting ready for Christmas, time isn't the only thing flying by. Next. Before the governor considers clemency for the I-70 truck driver sentenced to 110 years in prison, he's talking with survivors and family members of those killed 2.5 years ago. Today, I spoke with some of them about the viral effort to reduce the 110-year sentence Rogel Aguilera Mederos received. They agree 110 years is too severe. They also agree the court should consider what happens next.
Does anyone think the governor should get involved at this moment?
No.
No, but maybe he needs to hear from us.
Leslie Maddox-Ross is a survivor of the 2019 I-70 crash that resulted in a 110-year sentence for Rogel Aguilera Mederos, a sentence that now has the attention of Democratic Governor Jared Polis, who can consider clemency, a reduced sentence. He met with some of these same survivors and family members this afternoon.
But I hope he's not doing the due diligence to say, well, I listened to the victims, but I'm listening to my political pressure and social media more.
For him to jump into the fray while the court system is still handling it is inappropriate and premature.
Dwayne Bailey lost his brother William in the crash. He listened to the evidence during the trial and wants the people signing petitions based on celebrity posts to know this case was more than a simple accident.
I will summarize as briefly as I can. The defendant misled and misrepresented himself on his application to the company. All day long, he was seen driving above the speed limit. His brakes on Berthoud Pass were already smoking and hot. Yes, they failed, but they failed because of his action. They didn't fail from mechanical failure.
He had many different choices that he could have chose to make. He had options to not run into traffic, to not cause such damage, and he chose not to take those.
Malia Harsh was crashed into, just like Gregorio Salinas.
I was under the bridge and it pushed my semi completely out of under the bridge. And while it was rolling, I ended up jumping out.
He was not seriously hurt, but his friend Miguel was killed. It's the details, or the lack of details, that are not being shared in posts by people like Kim Kardashian. Posts about an excessive sentence that has these group of survivors and family members wanting the process to play out naturally.
They have a really big impact, and I feel that they should really think twice before they start engaging in something like this and not knowing all the facts.
And I do agree that 110 years is too much, but I also think clemency is out of line, because that should be for someone who's not even just remorseful, but has exhausted their other avenues.
Kathleen's brother Doyle was another victim killed in the crash. A crash that will end up back in court on Monday, as a judge considers the timing of a sentence modification hearing to be set at a later date. The governor, however, could act sooner.
Is everyone's consensus that 110 is too much?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it is. And I think that the governor should just stay out of it.
Just a short time ago, Democratic Jefferson County District Attorney Alexis King put out a news release saying at Monday's court hearing, she will ask the judge to consider a 20 to 30-year prison sentence. I talked again with one of the survivors of the crash who met with the governor before that news release from the DA. She told me her impression of the meeting is that the governor will still consider clemency and perhaps not let this play out in court. Several of you have emailed us and reached out on Twitter asking about the company Aguilera Mederos worked for and whether that trucking company was being held accountable. There has been a civil suit to try to get compensation from that company, Castellano 03 Trucking. The company went away. It dissolved after the 2019 crash. Then a new company called Volt Trucking became registered to the same address in Texas as Castellano. Back in 2019, our 9 Wants to Know team found Castellano Trucking had several recorded safety violations. Volt Trucking, the new one, has 23, including multiple brake and tire issues. Former Dominion Voting Systems employee Eric Coomer has added to his defamation lawsuits by suing someone else. over relentless defamation. This new lawsuit is against far-right conservative Clay Clark and his Reawaken America tour. The lawsuit, like others, tracks back to a Coloradan, FEC United founder Joe Oltmann. Oltmann first promoted the conspiracy theory that Dominion was rigging the election. Oltmann himself, seen here in Denver District Court back in October, is also being sued directly for defamation. As for this new lawsuit, Clark and what's called the Reawaken America tour promote the unsupported claims of election fraud based on Oltmann's also unsupported claims that Coomer rigged the 2020 election. The Reawaken America tour held a two-day event in Colorado Springs in September. The vertical banner behind them reads, "We are fear unmasked." If the event sounds somewhat familiar, perhaps it's because after one of those events in Texas this month, some of the attendees got sick and believe they were poisoned with anthrax. The symptoms are a bit similar to, a worldwide virus going around. So I might suggest, and I'm just riffing here, perhaps they should consider a COVID test. Field trips in school. Those were the best days, right? Learning when it felt like you just weren't learning. A new Denver micro school believes students learn best by doing. And the founder, a former Denver Public Schools principal, tells us there was something missing in the traditional public school model. La Luz launched just this year with a group of sixth graders. Here's Victoria De Leon.
A non-traditional school in Southwest Denver often takes learning outside and into the community.
The topic that you're getting into, why not do that in an area that's best suited for that?
A trip to Su Teatro is about much more than theater for students attending La Luz. Educators Alfredo Cervantes and Jubitsa Figueroa want to incorporate cultural pride into the lesson.
And so our students are all Latino, so am I and Jubitsa.
And again, I do think that traditional schools kind of erase your culture over time. And I know that happened to me, and I don't want that to happen to these students.
The sixth graders still learn basic school subjects like math, science, English, and history.
For example, like at the zoo, we were doing a bit of statistics with the animals. They had to do measurements.
The whole amazing part of the school is that we get to switch locations, switch environments, talk about, real world examples that, again, they can model what they've learned.
It's kind of like a field trip every day in a school that prioritizes social and emotional learning too.
I know when I was in sixth grade, I was going through it and I didn't have the resources to figure out why I was going through it. And then later I was like, oh my God, therapy is a thing.
In or out of the classroom, educators say the most learning happens when students are actively involved in the community they're growing up in.
We really love doing activities within our community so that we can build it up.
I am pro field trip. That was Victoria De Leon. Can you imagine how much more fun you might have had and how much learning you would have absorbed still doing math at the zoo instead of at your desk? Educators at La Luz say this model is about catering to the specific needs of each student and meeting them where they are in terms of academic work. Well, may I make a recommendation where I highlight some work that isn't ours, but we think you should check it out. Colorado needs billions of dollars to mitigate and restore areas hit hard by wildfires or at high risk for fires to start. Tens of millions are coming from D.C. in the infrastructure bill, but it's not nearly enough. Conrad Swanson over at the Denver Post has some details on this piece. He takes a look at the cost of recovery from the Cameron Peak and East Troublesome fires, the two biggest fires in Colorado history, and other consequences like deadly flash floods along burn scars. Then, if that's not enough, there's the issue of protecting watersheds and keeping drinking water clean around the state. We'll post Conrad's article on our Facebook page because we think you should read the entire thing.
This time last year, we'd gather here in my home each night for Next. Remember the woodpile? Now there's just the one log and a Christmas greeting from a friend. Our Word of Thanks campaign this week is providing homes for the holidays for neighbors who need them. The Colorado Village Collaborative is moving its tiny home village to a new location in the spring, and there's room for more homes, so that's where we come in. Since last night, you have raised more than $30,000. That'll cover the cost of one tiny home and get us a lot closer to another. This is an opportunity to help Coloradans move from living on the streets into this transitional step of the tiny homes before they move into permanent housing. It's housing that's often used by folks who don't feel safe in shelters, quite often women. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to join me in giving. From my home to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
The holidays can be trying, and that's before factoring in a pandemic. A long-running effort to help people get Christmas off of work gets so many volunteers, even the wait list is almost full. And one more day of doing the bare minimum and being celebrated for it. That's next. COVID and all of its variant friends can add more anxiety and stress to an already highly stressful time of year. Again. Sadly, this holiday season may feel very similar to last year's because of the pandemic. Victoria De Leon doing double duty tonight. I mean, this hits. You're right. Feeling it again when we felt it last year. You got some guidance today from a mental health expert.
Yeah, I mean, it's really annoying, but she says this is probably where hopelessness can start to sink in for some people, and I know that's kind of true for me, but it's tough to spend the holidays for this second year in a row having to think about a now more contagious virus, and there are plenty of us who might not be spending this time with the people we want to be spending it with. But Dr. Cheryl Ziegler says changing your perspective on things could maybe help.
Accept that good enough might be great this year. And, you know, whatever tradition maybe you can't do or whoever can't be there, make the best of what you've got. Practicing gratitude and practicing the whole good enough and not perfect is incredibly important right now.
I did that last week and it helps. So at the end of the day, we all just want to feel connected to people, especially this time of year. So in the spirit of making the best of what you have, remind yourself that any little connection you can have with the people you want to be spending it with is worth it. That could be a FaceTime, a phone call. Maybe you can see your loved ones for a couple of hours instead of an entire weekend.
Don't say, well, if I can't see them or I can't spend the whole week with them or, you know, a couple days with them, we should just play it safe. Probably not actually a great plan. You want to connect as much as you can with people. So that's the very first and top piece of advice that I would have.
And she also recommends that people focus on what you can control instead of what you can't. But if you're like me, that's really tough to do. So take some work.
I like the good enough might be the new great. That reminds me of my cooking, but good enough sounds good enough for this holiday season.
We'll probably all be a little more happier. So let's give it a try, even though it might be hard.
Well, happy holidays, Victoria.
Well, another warm one for us here in Denver today. Temperatures in the low 60s, some spots here in the mid to upper 60s around eastern Colorado. And for us here in Denver, that made it our 12th day at 60 or above. So far this month, we only average 4 days at 60 or above in the month of December in Denver. But that is changing, at least in the mountains, with a lot of snow moving its way on in, with Pacific stream of moisture working its way into our fair state. Central western Colorado, some spots here could brace for as much as 2 to 3 feet worth of snowfall. That snow already, as I mentioned, underway into the mountains. Winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories in place. And as I mentioned, that snow is going to be coming down fast and hard. Could be talking about 2 to 3 inch per hour snowfall rates into parts of the mountains that could lead to, in some spots, to mention 2 to 3 feet worth of snowfall by the time you wake up on your Christmas morning.
Leftovers. Some people like them. Others leave them in the Tupperware until it's time for the garbage disposal. My wife will tell you that's me. But some leftovers at Ector's Garden Center in Arvada might be the best part of the holidays. For the past 4 years, the store has given away Christmas trees to folks who cannot afford them. The trees come complete with the stuff that makes an ordinary tree a Christmas tree. Those are donated by Ector's customers. The people who stopped by today were pretty excited to get a fresh tree just in time for the weekend.
It means so much to us to be able to come down here together and get such a beautiful symbol of Christmas.
If you still need a tree, Ector's has a few left and will be open tomorrow from 10 to 3. I don't believe they have a tree farm type jingle, so Google it. Basically, 51st and Garrison. Jewish Colorado's Christmas Mitzvah project runs through Christmas, and there's still room to help out. We told you about the Christmas Mitzvah project earlier this week. Hundreds volunteer every year to fill in for employees and volunteers at nonprofits that might not get holiday time off. Earlier this week, there were about 75 volunteer spots left. Those are now filled. Thank you. We're on to the wait list now, and as of this afternoon, they only need 9 of you to join the "We'll call you if we need you" list. Volunteer opportunities include food banks, animal shelters, senior centers, Habitat for Humanity, and more. We have posted information on the Next Facebook page. I love that tree. You've inspired us to start a new segment focused on doing less. The huge holiday light displays get all the attention, but whatever happened to just a little holiday cheer? Bill and Carol are going with simplicity this year, with a snowman and a small tree decorating their home in Morrison. Bill says his wife was hurt in a crash in October. She's home now, working on her recovery. Best wishes to both of you. This one, well, I'm not so sure what the context is for this one, but it's certainly unique. Charlene says her neighbor in Littleton sets out this flying pig every year. I mean, there is a wreath on the door, so I guess maybe they went overboard with decorations. And cats get all the attention for ruining Christmas trees. May we present Duncan's contribution. Mia in Ridgeway passed these gems along, saying Duncan's red toy seemed to be the only thing their tree needed. Good boy, Duncan. She was in the hospital. He was at work.
I believe that there are angels among us, and he certainly is one.
I will never forget this. I will never forget it.
A story of unlikely friendship. Next. Two strangers united by circumstance. It wasn't a good circumstance that sent Megan Epson to the hospital, where she found a friend, and they reunited today.
The story is really about Mohammed. It's about a beautiful man who works in a hospital and touches lives every day, and he touched mine. My name is Megan Empson. I was in a car accident on November 29th. I was brought via ambulance to Lutheran Hospital. The stay was hard. The worst part was not being able to see my daughter. I was just flooded at that moment with sadness.
You can see that she was a little bit frustrated, depressed.
There was a housekeeper that came by. I asked him his name. He said his name was Mohammed.
So I even asked her, is it okay for me to be here in the room?
I asked him if he would pray with me, and he said yes.
So I said, okay, I am a Muslim. I know you are a Christian.
It doesn't matter, because we all pray to the same God.
So I said, okay, if she asked me to ask God, I will do that for her. And that's what I did.
That moment was just so beautiful to me. Can I hug you? Oh, my little angel.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. You have no idea.
Thank you.
He brought a ray of sunshine to me when I needed it. I was falling fast, and I was so sad, and I was so overwhelmed. I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you.
So happy.
I've been doing housekeeping for almost 12, 13 years now. I will never forget this. I will never forget it.
And he was such a light that I needed, and I'll always be grateful.
Thanks to Megan and Mohammed for sharing their story with photojournalist Kokri Scholl. You will see Next tomorrow. It'll just be a little unusual because it'll be a best of Next. We'll be revisiting some of our favorite stories, everything from ballads about bears, teachers working with NASA, and researchers buying mountain lion pee on Amazon. That's what we call a tease. Stick around for that tomorrow.